Hey guys, it's Alicia here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Oh, what it is? Oh, what's up? Okay, that's enough. Yeah, so I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Yes, it is nighttime while I'm recording this. Also, just a quick note of things. It's really late right now and people are actually trying to sleep, so I'm gonna be talking kind of lower, but that's also why I'm gonna be super close to the camera. So if you feel like you can see into my spirit and soul, I apologize. I'm just trying to make sure you guys can hear me. Because I have a story to tell you guys today. Well, tonight. I will be talking about um, the time that I had a dream and God spoke to me and it manifested within that same year. Like a few months within having the dream, it manifested. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But before we get into the details, I just want to say that if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, darling, what are you doing in life? You need to go ahead and do that. I just feel like if you do it, I mean, I can't promise you any money or anything, but you know, you'll smile a little bit more. I don't know. I just feel like it's good for you if you go ahead and subscribe, push the notification bell, and yeah, give this video a thumbs up as well. You know what I'm saying? Got it? Okay, good. Let's get into it. So, yeah, like I'm saying, real quick disclaimer, this is purely my experience. I'm sharing it as it is, as it was, because it actually happened some years ago. I don't really get to share well, not that I don't get to, but I just don't share my experiences with God enough, I feel like. And I have so many, so I do want to start to share those with you guys. I often give a lot of tips and advice, and it's just like, how do you know what you're talking about? Like, and it's because mostly I spend my time in the presence of God. I spend it with Him, I listen for Him, and yeah. However, that wasn't always the case, guys. I was just kind of doing stuff because I thought that's what I had to do. There's nothing fake or false about, not about my God anyway. I know for a fact that He's out there. And it's one of the reasons why nobody can tell me that what I believe and what I do, or who I worship, is a joke or is not real, because, honey, I know He's real. He talks to me, I talk to Him, stuff be happening. I know what's up. So let's get into the story. I was 19 years old, I guess 2016. And yeah, it was 2016. I was 19 years old. So I was going around for a couple months actually looking for a decent job. It would have been my first real job outside of my youth theater group. I found one at a bagel shop, like 8-9 minutes away from my house. Of course, like when I start anything new, I was really shy. I was really nervous about making sure I was doing the right jobs and doing the right things, and I was working with different people too. I was working with different people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different countries, and yeah, it was a really different experience for me. I wasn't used to not working with adults that either my parents knew or that I knew growing up. It wasn't something like that. It was definitely something where I had to learn new people, and new people had to learn me. The more I got into it, the more I got closer to my coworkers, the more I started getting a hang of it. Also, now dealing at a bagel shop, you're dealing with other customers from different walks of life who I have no idea who they are. So that's also a factor. You get good customers, bad customers, nice people, rude people. I mean, you experience it all. So that was just something, a part of the journey and the process. And so, like I said, that was just something I had to grasp within those first 2.5, 3 months. My boss had trusted me enough to open up the shop, and I started to go from this weird, awkward, uncomfortable phase to this, oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay, let's do this then kind of phase. So I was really happy about that. And it happened pretty quickly. In my terms, I wasn't feeling too bad anymore. In the whole entire way, I would pray and ask for guidance. Every time I go get up to get ready for work, an hour before I had to leave, I'm up in the Word, praying, and I can definitely say that that helped me a lot. While dealing with so many different people, so many different situations and things, that helped me a whole lot. And so I was grateful to be able to experience the presence of God so early in the morning, like I always do. And I feel like with that being the case, my days were a little bit easier and they got better because of that. I really enjoyed those days there, and to the point to where, like, even when my shift ended, I would stay around just because I liked talking to my coworkers. I liked helping them. I liked getting to know them more, making food, laughing, talking. That's all we ever used to do, was laugh and talk. So let's say fast forward to March of, if that was 2016, 2017. March 2017. I don't remember what part of March this was, but I had a dream. Now, this. Okay. I don't really share my dreams in the public eye or whatever, but this is my first time doing so. I had a dream one day that I was standing in the middle of a street. First problem, because crossing the street gives me such bad anxiety, but whatever, it's a dream. I'm standing in the middle of the street. The sky is very clear, vivid blue, like the deepest sky blue I've ever seen in my entire life. The sun is shining, and there's this very thick silence over the area that I'm in. When I look straight, I see the street. When I look to my left, I see this coffee shop, and to my right is my job. So I'm like, oh, I know where I'm at. I know exactly where I'm at. But what's going on? Because there's no cars, the traffic lights are turned off, there's no people. It's just like this weird silence. I'm like the last person on earth kind of energy. Here's the crazy part. Out of nowhere, and not out of nowhere, but yeah, out of nowhere, because it was silent, there was this sound. Well, I heard a voice. Now, I know in my heart that was the voice of God. In the dream, I knew I heard the voice of God. There was no confusion about that. But the sound it was not like a voice like, oh, he sounded like Morgan Freeman, or he sounded like my next door neighbor. Like, it wasn't like that. I can't give a human's voice behind it. It's really weird because it was a sound of like if you stood next to like a stream or a river of running water, and like thunder, but not like crack boom kind of thunder, but kind of like, was that thunder? I think it's about to rain kind of thunder, like rolling, gentle rolling thunder, and the sound of wind. Guys, I don't know, don't ask me. That's what it was, and that's what I heard. That's all I can say. So those sounds combined came a voice out of those sounds. I don't know how to explain it, guys. Please, I feel like I sound crazy right now trying to even explain it on camera. I heard a voice come out of those sounds, but upon hearing the voice, I started to like shake, but I wasn't scared because I was also like fully peaceful, but I was also like just overwhelmed to the point where I was shaking. And then the voice said, look, this job is temporary. You will be a mother soon. So, I don't know about y'all, but like at 19 years old, I'm not trying to hear nothing about being a mom. I'm just saying, like, as much as it's one of my heart's deepest desires to be a mommy, at 19, I'm like, wait, because I want to go to Disneyland first. Like, I don't want to have kids yet. Not right now. I haven't thought of all their names yet. Like, I just can't do this right now. But again, if Sarah was laughing when she heard that, Lasia was worrying when she heard that. So anyway, that's what was said to me in the dream. And just like that, it ended. So I woke up. The first thing I said when I woke up was, God? And I sat up and I was extremely hot. I was sweating a lot, more than usual. And so immediately I got dressed, went downstairs to my mom, and I told her the entire dream. I was like, Ma, listen to this. Please don't think I'm crazy, Ma. And so I told her, and she's like laughing at me because I'm like freaking out. And it's crazy because me hearing that this job will be temporary is not terrifying to me at all. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. I don't want to be at this job forever. I know that for a fact. I wasn't trying to be there past 20 years old anyway. So that wasn't my concern. Of course, the second part, being a mom, was my concern. And I ain't had no boyfriend. I ain't married. I ain't with nobody. So what am I tweaking? I don't know. However, the experience, the presence of that voice of God in my dream had me rattled a little bit, had me shaken, had me kind of feeling like, whoa, that's crazy that I just heard, and okay, whatever. However, that whole week after that, the dream kept popping up in my head. I kept seeing what I saw. I kept, just thinking about it like, did God really just talk to me in my dream? Like, that's so crazy. Like, whatever. Like I said, by this time it's March of 2017, and I'm at a really good phase in my life. I'm not complaining. I'm not upset. I'm making some nice money at work, not just being paid, but like the tips. They would tip me like $20 sometimes for no reason. And like I said, I was really like just balling out at work, and I was enjoying myself, and I was being promoted, and I was being trusted to do different things and, new things. And so I was really like comfortable. I was actually even asked to help the new employees that came in, show them around, show them how to do certain things, and that just made me feel so good about myself. So that dream happened in March. Let's say a date that never left my mind for some strange reason was May 11th. So April passed, we get to May 11th. It was like kind of weird. That day my boss flipped out for some reason. I don't remember the reason why he flipped out, but he was very upset about something that had happened, and he was yelling right in the face, cursing, all that stuff. Now, mind you, the situation that happened didn't happen because of me, or it wasn't like it was directed at me. So I'm not pressed. I'm like, I've seen him tweak on us before. I'm just waiting so we can go back out there and finish our shift. I'm not concerned. I'm not really like upset or anything. I'm just like, wow, let's just do better, guys, because this is ridiculous. And usually stuff like that will bother me because I don't like being yelled at, especially when I'm doing my best to work so hard to do my best. Yeah, so he yelled at everybody, and like after we all get talked to, it's always like really silent for like 15 minutes straight. But after that, because my coworkers were goofballs, they were making jokes again, and it was like nothing had ever happened, and we're laughing again. And it's the end of my shift, and I'm actually waiting for one of my coworkers to finish making me some food so I can go. And my dad's on the way, and suddenly I feel strange, like this really weird, uncomfortable feeling. And I'm like, what is this? Like, why do I feel like this? And in my spirit, I'm gonna say this because I say this a lot now. I wasn't saying that when I was 19. My spirit, I keep hearing, it's time to go. So I'm like, and it's followed up with this very strange, uncomfortable feeling on the inside, like at the pit of my stomach. Like, it's time to go. Very stern warning. And I'm like, okay. Mind you, we had a long day. Everybody got yelled at. I'm ready to go home. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten. So I'm like, whatever. That's probably what it is. So that happened May 11th. I left. And as soon as I got home, I was fine. Nothing was bothering me anymore. About 2 weeks later, because it was the end of May now, it happened again. And this time, nothing happened weird. Nobody got yelled at. It was the end of my shift yet again. And I felt that feeling again. And randomly, and I heard again, it's time to go. But this time, it felt worse than the last time. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but this feels awkward. So again, I kind of just got my stuff and I left. And as soon as I left, I felt better. I don't know why. I'm like, maybe I'm just tired and I'm doing too much, and you know, it's time for me to go, for real. My shift is over. It's true. It's time for me to go. I'm waiting for my tip out, and I'm just like, oh, I feel weird. Like, okay, let's just go. And like I said, it's worse than the last time. I get, let's say, June was a pretty silent month for me. It was like, whatever. Nothing bothered me. Nothing came to me. The beginning of July, it got crazy. It was another regular day, and this was like towards the middle of my shift. It was about, I would say, 11 something in the morning, and I felt that feeling again, but it was stronger than the last 2 times I felt it. And to the point to where I had to go to the bathroom because I felt like I was looking kind of strange, and I didn't want anybody to ask me, what's wrong with you? Like, are you okay? I don't like when people ask me that for some reason because I always want to sound like I'm okay. So I just went to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, I didn't feel like I was going to throw up or anything. It just felt so uncomfortable. I had to get away from everybody else because I didn't know what was going on. And this time in my spirit, I heard a get out. You need to get out. And I'm like, whoa, this is some type of like Martin mystery type, like, I don't know what's going on. It's time to get out. Who, what? And I'm like, okay, because now I'm getting kind of scared. And I'm like, wow. The end of my shift, I did not linger. I did not wait. I didn't even leave with my tips. I told one of my coworkers, leave it to the side for when I come in the next day. And I left as soon as my dad got there. And this time I told my parents that I felt this way because it wasn't just something I could shake. And even though I didn't experience it for a whole month, it came back worse than the last 2 times I felt it. And this time I was feeling like I should get out. And I told my mom, I said, Ma, I'm sorry for coming to you sounding crazy all the time, but I feel like I'm being told to leave my job. I don't know why. And she's just like, oh my gosh, why do you think that? And I'm telling her all the things I'm experiencing, telling her all the reasons why I think I might feel the way I feel. And one thing about me in my early years of my first few years of walking with Christ, I've always tried to make things logical. And if you know my God, things are not logical. He's a very mysterious God. Things don't happen in my understanding. And I've always tried to say, like, oh, this happened because of that. Well, this happened because of this. But I could not explain why I was feeling these things, why I was hearing these things in my spirit, why I was getting this vibe like, I shouldn't be here right now. I shouldn't be here at all. And so she was just telling me, like, pray over it. Ask God to give you peace, ask God to give you clarity as to what's going on, and if it's him or if it's somebody else talking to you, you need to let that be known before God. And so I did. At this point, I had no choice. It was a very uncomfortable situation. It felt like I was being like hunted or something. I was so scared, and it was crazy because I couldn't really complain about anything in life to say, oh, this is why this is happening. I couldn't find a way to be logical about this. It just didn't make sense. And I liked my job. I loved my coworkers. I didn't have any problems with anybody. Why was I being tempted to leave? Why was I being told to leave? Why was I being told it's time to get out? The world may never know. So anyway, it was like that happened like a few days before the 4th of July. The next encounter happened the very next time I went to work. And I kept feeling like this, get out, it's time for you to go. Get out now. That feeling was back, and to the point to where I was almost in tears. Like, I was like, okay, like, I don't know what's going on. I want to leave. I might have left early that day because I didn't feel comfortable, and whatever was going on, it just didn't seem right. I told my mom again. I said, Mom, I feel like I need to leave my job. And I said, as much as I hate to say this, because I'm making some good money, I'm enjoying my time with my coworkers, I really feel like it's time for me to go. And I said, Ma, I don't know why. So then she was just kind of coach me through the situation, and she was just like, Lay's just all right, is everything okay? She's asking me all these questions. Does anybody make you feel uncomfortable? Is anybody saying wrong things to you? Like, is it something that happened that we don't know that you're not saying? I'm like, no, Ma, I can't even like be like, well, it was this one time, because no, it wasn't. I'm not even gonna make that up and make it look like somebody's bothering me, because nobody's bothering me. That next week, my boss kind of started acting funny. It was weird because I've never experienced him act like this. For some reason, he hadn't paid me in almost a whole month. Yeah, it wasn't like I was getting a check. He was kind of paying me himself. And I always counted to make sure I was getting what I was supposed to get. And he always did give me my right amount. But it was this one time where I asked him and he didn't give me the right amount. And I said, I think you're like $40 short. And I think you're off a little bit. And so he went back in the cash register and he was just like, oh yeah, here. And he gave me the rest of my money. And he just acted really funny. I was just like, okay, you've never done that before. And then it happened again. I asked him to pay me, and he would be there 1 minute, and okay, sure, I'll give it to you at the end of your shift. And at the end of my shift, be gone, nowhere in sight. And I called him because sometimes he would just say to give him a call because he had to leave. And he would also get one of my coworkers to give me the pay that he was supposed to give me. And he wasn't even answering his phone. So I'm like, okay. I asked one time, I said, hey, I text him, I'm gonna come past the shop, you can give my money. I'm not working that day. So I was gonna come past the shop and get my money. He told me that he was not at the shop and that he was in Massachusetts fishing or something. But he'll give it to me next time he sees me. So I'm like, all right, whatever. At the time, one of my little cousins was over, and I decided to take her and my sisters out to go get some food from my job because I get a discount, so why not? And believe it or not, I walked through the front door of my job and he's at the register. Not in Massachusetts. I'm like, hey, what's up? You would have thought he saw a ghost. And he was just like, oh, he quickly kind of just like brought the attention to the girls, my little cousin and my sisters. Oh, it's your sisters, it's your family, that's so great. Wow, see you later, bye. And he left. And I was thinking in the back of my mind, Lay, you should have definitely pressed him about saying that he was in Massachusetts and he's still in Jersey. But I needed to see that. Something wasn't right. For some reason, he's acting funny now. And believe it or not, the next time I went to work, which was around the 20th or so, I didn't feel that feeling of get out. I didn't feel uncomfortable because at this point now, I'm believing it. It's time for me to go. I'm like, something's not right. I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to stick around to find out. So I said next week I'm going to give him my 2 weeks. I'm going to tell him that I'm leaving. So I told him, I said, hey, at the end of my shift, I want to talk to you. He said, what's wrong? What's going on? And I said, it's okay. I'll just tell you at the end of my shift. And he was just like, all right. At the end of my shift, he's nowhere to be found. Didn't come back. Nothing. Never told me he was leaving. I'm like, yep, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to get out. Because now that weird feeling I'm feeling has become my reality. It's become my own mindset. It's time for me to go. And now I can't wait to tell him that I'm leaving. So when I finally do come to him, I say, hey, I'm leaving. This is my 2 weeks. And the 2 weeks would have made me leave by the beginning of August. It's like the 20th or whatever, like I said. And he's just like, why? Why are you leaving? And I'm like, it's just time for me to go. It's time for me to get out of here. And, I literally said what was going on. Like, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to get out of here and just go somewhere else. He was just like, well, it's because someone disrespected you or is somebody treating you wrong? And I was like, no. I'm like, huh? Someone disrespected me or something. He was trying to ask me if somebody disrespected me. And I was like, what? I've never even had an argument with any of my coworkers. What are you talking about? So I'm like, no, it's just time for me to dip. Like, I'm out. Like, and I didn't even say anything about the money. At this point, I'm leaving. And now I get it. It's something strange going on here. And actually, I'm ready to go, So I told my parents, I said, Mom, I'm leaving my job. And I told him. She said, good. She's like, I'm here with you the whole way through. It is what it is. We'll go with you to get your money. It is what it is. And the next week, which would have been my first of my 2 weeks, he told me not to come in. He said, don't worry about it. We're training someone new. And so don't worry about it. She's going to take your place in the shift. So I was like, okay. Come to find out, nobody came in for training that day. I can't make this stuff up. Like, I don't even know what was happening. Like, okay. The next day, I should have been coming in. He told me not to come in that day. So I said, okay, I guess. You do know that next week is my last week. Yeah, it's fine. He told me not to come in that next week. He said, just come in and I'll give you your money. And I said, so basically my last day was around the 20th or whatever that last day was that I told him I was going to be gone. And it's crazy because it worked all like so smoothly, so perfectly. And he gave me my money and that was it. And it's crazy because, wow, that's all I gotta say is wow. I had that dream in March that my job would be temporary. And I felt what I felt for all those months, all that time. By the end of July, I was done. I was out of there. That job was part of my past now. And I honestly just, I kept up with some of my coworkers after I left. I was really close with them. And I went on to find out that within the next 2 months, half of them were fired. This one had an argument with our boss. This one had a fight with our boss. This one left because he was being wrong, messed up to them. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. Like, it just seemed like all hell broke loose as soon as I left. And I was just like, wow, maybe something else was happening that I couldn't see and I was being protected from. So I say all that to say, that experience right there allowed me to take the voice of God more seriously, listening when I feel these things, when I hear these things in my spirit, to do them. Even if I don't want to. I didn't want to leave my job when I first heard that that's what I should have been doing. And that suddenly became what I was literally trying to do, is leave my job. And what God knows, what God has put together is greater than what I feel right now, what I know right now, what I want right now. Honestly, he was protecting me from something that clearly would have brought me more harm than good if I stayed there, regardless of how much money I was getting, regardless of how close I was with my coworkers. I'm grateful that I left at the time that I left. And even though it wasn't the designated time that I planned to leave, it was earlier than the time I planned to leave. But again, God worked in my life, and this has been one of the craziest experiences of my life. I probably will never forget, and I hope I never do. I'm sharing this because, like I said, God is real. God is so real. God's presence is real. I'm telling you. And it's funny because I asked God to guide me. I asked God to protect me. I asked God to show me the things that I can't see. And He did. And He delivered me out of whatever the heck was waiting to devour me. To God be the glory. God provides. Even when He takes away the things I think I need, He gives me something else that I have needed more than I ever would have known. And I'm like, thank you, God, for being in control of my life. Thank you for, man, I'm not gonna start preaching because this video is super long already, but I hope this encourages you guys. And in times like we're living in 2020, please, God is speaking more now than He ever has to me in my life and experience. He is speaking on a different platform, on a different level, on a different kind of volume even. Just, it's louder, it's more, I mean, you can see it in the news, you can see it in front of you. It's almost like the Bible is playing itself out in front of us. And it's really scary, honestly, because it's like, dang, this is more legitimate than my history books. Like, this is crazy. So I really encourage you guys to, if you haven't already, start a relationship with God. Try to seek His face, find Him while He can still be found. These are the end times. Confess with your tongue that God, Jesus is Lord, and that God will send His Son to come back. He will return. Jesus will return. It's time to accept that and confess that Jesus is Lord and He is going to return. God is speaking and we need to listen. He is speaking. He is trying to gather His people. Like I said, I hope this encourages you guys. Some things are things that need to be done and said through God's Spirit and God's Spirit only. And you won't know that. You won't know if God's talking if you don't know His voice, if you don't know Him. Please get to know Him. I urge you today. Please give your life to Christ. It is so important that we do this at this time. And you never know. You might not see the next day. You might not see the next year. Get to know Him, hold on to the faith, and keep pressing and believing in Him. The devil is a liar, and he's very real as well. But so is God. My God is bigger than anything I've ever experienced and ever have come up against. And if God is for us, who can be against us? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a very long one, yes, I know, but it was necessarily needed to be this long. Don't forget to like this video, share it with somebody else, and thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it to this point in the video. I love you guys so much, so much. I don't know all of you. I don't know who you are, but I love you. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.